I mean, that must be how good of a job just my voice was doing. Granted, I was basically a monologue, so that's fine.
Cat shit.
What?
Do you want grilled skirt steak fajitas?
Yeah, that sounds good. Where's this from?
Temazcal? I don't know how to say it.
Okay, whatever. Sounds good. I'm fucking starving.
That fancy Mexican place on Cambridge Street?
I am fucking starving. Alright, we back online yet?
Let's see. Twitch.
Yeah.
Yep. No, still sideways.
It's sideways?
No, I am.
Okay, alright, what? Alright, so you guys are telling me this whole fucking time you could not hear the other people in the stream. Fuck. Okay, it's like, that's one of two things. Either you guys aren't fucking paying attention, or that's how good my monologues have been. So, yeah. They were trying to explain to you, like, this hair transplant deal, but whatever. I actually got this transplanted from a llama's asshole. Shut up, woman. Alright. Hopefully we're back. Dude, this is, like, fucking bullshit. I'm so sorry that this keeps happening. Like, it's like keep restarting the stream. We really need to figure that out. If you are the owner of a better streaming service, or know for 100% sure, there's a better streaming service that will hit YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, because we are a very inclusive development team. We like to include every social media group except fucking Tumblr. Fuck you guys. Let's see. Dude, I used to post to Google Plus. Okay, like that's how like committed I was to including these fucking people. I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna post to that one guy who follows us on Google Plus. Like, here you go, man. Check out the screenshot. You know, back when I wasn't depressed and was actually like posting progress and shit. But I'm getting there again.
I think somebody had asked if it was good practice to program
yes!
paper.
Okay, so the whole point of me leaving the room. Okay, that is such a good practice that literally 90% of my substantial work, like engineering-wise, like working on Elysian Shadows, working on scripting, working on anything, is actually done in these notebooks, which we will be sending to you guys shortly. Guys, while I think about it, you guys found a website that could do this without destroying the books. Can someone give me a link for that again? Because I was seriously sitting down to pay for it the other day, and I couldn't find the fucking site again. So anyway, yeah, and those of you who bought these, you're going to get one for free anyway also. But, okay, so the better I get as a programmer, the more I realize that as far as, like, high-level, not necessarily high-level design, but as far as, like, starting some new feature or something, 90% of it is on paper, and then it's mostly just translating into... I mean, no, like... I literally, if you get this book, you'll notice I don't even think in pseudocode. Like, the way I think is in compilable C++. Once you've been doing it for long enough, like, I can go whole huge features without getting a compiler error. Without ever, maybe like syntax errors, you know, but like, once you've been doing it long enough, it's the concept, the design, the architecture you're implementing that really fucking matters, not just like the, it's the syntactical things. And you start to learn, like, how passing this by reference, or like data ownership, or the little details, how to plan for them, like on pen and paper. There's a lot of times when I'll be bored shitless somewhere and I won't have a computer and I'll like start fucking scribbling code on a napkin or something. Yeah, for me, most of my work is actually in these notebooks. Absolutely, like a lot of this is pretty finalized code. And I feel like the better you become as a programmer, the less you actually need an IDE to fucking, to really get shit done.
Plus, if you do get runtime errors and you've thought about it on paper, there's a good chance that you will have expected it.
Right. Or yeah, you'll know, like, at least typically, like, the area that's like susceptible to that, or you'll have an idea of where to start debugging, I feel like. And as you do it a lot, you'll notice the things like, okay, I didn't plan for it. Like, I missed this aspect when I was doing it on paper and translating it. But then you won't miss that next time, you know what I mean? Like, oh, fuck, I forgot to think about, like, pointer ownership, or, like, this is actually a little more complicated than how I designed it because I have to do this the way C++ expects this. You like that kind of shit becomes intuitive, and you start making progress, and you start including or being able to think about that like subconsciously before you even write actual code. I can't get to the fucking Mob Crush.
Yeah, we did that in high school because the computers were just so terribly slow that you pretty much had to do it on paper.
Are you fucking serious? Consciously.
Yeah, they were Pentium 133s.
Jesus Christ.
So the only compiler they could actually run was Borland Turbo C, which, was okay.
Oh, here's a really good, here's a good question. First of all, doesn't OBS work? I am absolutely using OBS right now. That doesn't really help with anything. I'm using OBS to go to a service that will go to the other three. OBS itself cannot broadcast to all three of these services simultaneously. But yeah, I'm totally using OBS. You guys are one mix or two? Not sure what that means. I look 19 again. Why, thank you. I've been doing the ketogenic diet.
You forgot the beanie.
Yeah, I have to find that. I still have that fucking beanie too. What do you think of modern C++? Do you like the complexity or not? I fucking love modern C++, but everyone who hates C++, I get it. Like, I don't know that as a newbie I would like modern C++. It makes the language that much harder to learn. But if you are at the wizard god level, which, I'm sorry, a lot of C++ guys are, like, there's a very huge gap between, like, your average programmer and the C++ fucking guys. If you're at that level, then it's fucking amazing. The shit that they're adding, the shit you can do. One of the things I say, I'm like a huge fucking Variadic template fan, so you probably would have guessed that I am into C++ 11 and 14 and shit. But, like, one of the things that I've noticed is that historically C code tended to be faster than C++. Like, it didn't have to be, but that's kind of how it was. But now, you can absolutely write faster C++ than C. Like, you just, like, there's not even a contest anymore. A good C++ programmer could beat a good C programmer's ass as far as performance, because they've added shit like const expr, the whole compile time template shit that does not exist in C. There exists no equivalent for that kind of shit in C, and that's kind of like the more powerful shit I'm starting to see in C++ that I kind of like. But like I said, from a beginner perspective, I feel like if I were teaching students, I would ignore C++ 11 until the end. I feel like it could only hurt. I don't think it could help until you fully grasp C, 98 or whatever the fuck. So yeah, it's kind of mixed feelings. Like as a proficient programmer, I fucking love it. As someone who I understand, like, even someone who teaches other people, like, yeah, there's a bit of a fucking learning curve there. It's harder for probably new people to learn C++ than it was for me, and it was already the hardest fucking language in the planet to learn. Like, that's just hands down how it is.
I want to put a different spin on that quickly, dude.
Yeah.
Because when I tried learning C++ to begin with before C++ 11, I struggled quite a bit. I mean, to be fair, I wasn't as good of a programmer back then as I was now because I was a lot younger. But then I picked up C++ 11 a couple of years later, and dude, I swear, I don't know if it was just because of my other programming experience in languages like C# and shit, but I was able to pick that up so much easier.
Okay, that might be it. Okay. If you're coming from C or C++, I think it's going to be harder. If you're coming from something like C# or Java, they've added a lot of shit like override, a lot of keywords, and a lot of aspects that those languages have. That might be true. It might be easier if you're coming from like the higher levels of abstraction. That I didn't think about that. I could see that. The way I learned, I went from fucking C to C++ to C++ 11. Going at it from the bottom up, it was a bitch. But if you're coming from that way down, that might be easier. That's a good fucking...
There's just a lot of shoehorning. You're trying to force these concepts that come from C# and such into the C++ language, and syntactically it comes out looking like pure vomit. It's just horrifying. That's my gripe. Like, it's extremely powerful, obviously, but... oh, good God, the syntax is just
Like half of modern C++ is angle brackets now with templates. Yeah.
That's why they had the auto keyword, and unfortunately, people use auto for everything.
Oh, I know. They
I find detestable.
They even fucked auto up.
Programmers out there.
Oh my god, dude! The overuse of auto is when auto first came out. When auto first came out, we were like, "Oh my god, yes!" And then, like after a month of seeing other people use it, we're like, "Oh my god, no, never mind."
Okay, so here's the thing, right? I'm a JavaScript developer by background. It was the first proper language I learned. Well, some people don't call it a proper language, but it was, okay? And then going to C and figuring out all... the only thing I ever use that for is looping vectors or something.
The only thing you use what for?
Auto. The auto.
Oh, right. For like range-based for loops and shit, right?
Yeah,
right.
I would never use that instead of standard type declarations. It is that... See, languages like JavaScript that are typeless, and I think Lua is as well, right?
Yeah, those languages, it's loosely typed, yeah.
Yeah, they work perfectly because of that, and how they work in terms of scopal abstractions and actually compiling shit to assembly. You can't really be fucking with that, in my opinion. You need to know what's going on at a low level architecture compared to high level.
Definitely.
At least I find it a lot easier to manage that way, personally. And I'm a JavaScript developer, saying that types are better for you, so...
Jesus. So, alright, let me ask Fred Hare, I think, or no, probably not me. Who the fuck is Mike Acton? And why does he discourage template usage? I love to argue that point because I used to be someone who fucking hated templates. I felt that they were the dumbest fucking thing ever. But 90% of those people who are like, don't ever use templates, they're people who don't understand templates and they suck at it and they're butthurt. I'm sorry, like I'm gonna fucking say it. I used to be that person. And then I bought a gigantic book on templates and I fucking educated myself. And I was like, you know what? Like, you might not like the fucking syntax. It might be very hard to grasp. But once you do, this is a very, very fucking powerful tool that for our toolkit especially has enabled us to do so much fucking shit so much easier. I'm curious why they don't like templates. If you know
Mike Acton is he's pretty experienced. He works for Unity now, but he used to work for Insomniac and I think at one point Unreal. But
I want to know his. But exactly
what I find interesting is that a lot of his talks used to be about data-oriented programming in C++. And I'm not aware of a way to more elegantly capture data-oriented design than templated code. So it's like he's saying one thing and then kind of switching around to the other. I don't know.
It's not like templates don't have their downside, but in my experience, the people who are like, oh, fucking templates, they seriously don't understand what the cost of a template is. Most of these people think that template instantiation is like some kind of dynamic dispatch virtual call, and that's just not the case. And there's like, overhead templates. That's what I used to do. Look at my old fucking videos. Look at how I used to talk on our forum. It's kind of pathetic, actually. I'd be like, oh, if fucking templates had all this overhead, and I didn't understand really what it was. Templates do add a lot of compile time, supposedly, but do you know how many I am using the fucking shit out of 20 layers of variadic template instantiation in my entire toolkit, my entire engine. I'm building Lua from scratch, Lua, Spine. Do you know what my build time is? For all of the toolkit and engine, 3 minutes. 3 minutes to build everything from scratch. So yeah, they add a lot of compile time, but like, let's put this shit into perspective. I'm not waiting like 20 fucking minutes for my code to compile. For me, that compile time argument is like the amount of time that these templates are saving me in terms of development time, it's just worth it.
Well, you can make a debug nightmare too.
Yeah, okay, yeah, they're hard to debug.
That would be about the other one.
That's true too.
It makes a lot of things so much easier though, that typically I would just abhor when it came to C and C++ programming. Like, if I want a function that can take, even just variadic arguments, right? They're one of the perfect examples of using templates in such a simple manner that shit just can save you a lot of time and auto-generate code for you. Like, why would you want to write an overload yourself for a function taking all these different data types if you can just do something as simple as that?
Bye, Lauren. Sorry, my wife's sleeping. Dude, you guys have seen, like, the kind of shit that we're doing with templates, right? Like, holy fucking shit.
I will say that.
From one template instantiation, let's say I have an area, which has, like, width and height. from one template instantiation, I can take a C++ fucking getter and setter for width and height. I'm creating Lua bindings for the width and height that mimic a property. So from Lua, I can be like width, height equals this. Automatically, so it can be displayed in our selection view. So boom, and now it has UI support. I'm automatically generating undo, redo commands from that. So boom, like it's this whole UI thing. So all of that is automatically fucking generated from one template instantiation. Like, for a team as small as ours, like, do you know how much fucking time it would take for me every time I make a property to go through and like, oh, now I have to make the fucking UI expose this property. Now I have to do this. Now I have to fucking create undo, redo commands. Like, that's insanity. The amount of shit that this project has gained from templating, like, I just disagree that templates